What is up, everybody? It is Ebontis here, and we got a Season 22 weapons preview. Now, there's a lot of stuff in here, like charts, and sorry about the giant white screen. It's probably worse on me because it's so big. If you want to go into the details of the charts and all of that stuff, feel free to do the deep dives on the reading. The main things I want to cover is some changes to weapon archetypes, perks, and then also some kind of positive changes to weapon crafting. So I'm going to skip over some of this, hit the highlights, and then we will kind of keep going down. A lot of the charts are talking about like where the immortal is, where some machine guns are, all of those types of things. Different player skill level, like high skill level, and you've got low skill level and all skill and like immortals. And you can actually see here Centrifuge right now is kind of an outlier in, they say, like mid to low skill lobbies. Centrifuge is very, very popular right now. It's also the new one, but you've got some interesting ones. So if you want to read through all of that, that's fine. That's not what I'm here to talk about. If you want to go watch probably Fallout's video, he would break it down a lot better. When it comes to the global like balance changes in and of themselves, they do say PvE kills with 2 special weapons equipped now generate heavy ammo at the same rate as 2 primaries or 1 special. If they think the one, if they think it's 1 and 1 or 2 and 2, if they think the ammo rate is fine, all I'm saying is just go play a solo dungeon for a while and be out of ammo and tell me it's still fine. So anyway, I'm going to die on that hill and say until the heavy ammo is fixed on a general whole, not much I can do about it. But at least running, I mean, for those who want to run special weapons to get around it, not much benefit anymore. Reticles, they are still working on kind of making them more informational and making them a little better. So check those out as they change. Zoom and damage fall off. That is kind of a big thing they've been working on. Zoom from rangefinder and all of those things. If you come down here to this big giant chart, they're kind of normalizing a lot of it. So your base zoom plus rangefinder zoom, and then the new ADS damage fall off scaler feels a little more like the base zoom. A couple places you can see it is a little higher, kind of tweaked in a couple places. So they're kind of making it to where range is something you can kind of spec into easier for most weapons. So if you don't have rangefinder, but you do have a lot of range, the zoom is going to be less of a factor. The actual range will do a little bit more. Probably going to bring some of the outliers down, but still give you a chance to enjoy a little bit of range on your weapons. There's also like ADS damage fall off start distances. Again, if you want to get into all of this, by all means, this is not what I'm going to get into though. Special weapons and all that stuff. Custom tuned exotics for range and damage fall off. Not my forte. You guys know that. But they are going to be doing some tweaks. If you have a certain weapon, look it up that you enjoy. See if it's worth one of those things that's going a little crazy. So now it's a little more of the meat. Weapon archetypes. Hand cannons. Increased reload speed at 0 by 15%. So every hand cannon at the lowest stat is going to be a little better. So if you have a very low reload speed on a hand cannon, it's going to be better. As it's higher up, not much is really going to be felt. PvE damage, though, is big. This is massive. Increased damage against minor combatants by 20%. Majors by 75%. So a couple hand cannons are going to be interesting to check out. You've got stuff like, I don't know, Ariana's Vow with special ammo against majors, 75% increased damage. They don't mention that it's not in there, so we'll have to see. Also, we've got Warden's Law coming into play here, so that's going to be a new 2-round burst. So stay tuned. That one seems to be coming in Season 22. Bows. Basically reduce the minimum reload animation duration from 0.5 to 0.3. So if you have like Archer's Tempo and then anything else that helps with reload, it actually can get a little bit faster now if you spec into it. SMGs, they fixed a stat. Sidearms, reduce the base damage by just a little bit for TTK purposes. The BXR Battler Zoom is back to where it was. Shotgun, some impact stat on Comedian, nobody really cares. Fusion rifles, Follow was talking about this one when I checked to see if he was looking at this yet. Fixed an issue where Adept Masterworks and enhanced intrinsic perks were decreasing the damage dealt by fusions when they changed their charge time stat. Previously, fusions, the faster the charge time was, like the quicker it was for you to charge it, the less damage it would do. If they're taking it out, that actually may be interesting for TTKs for fusion rifles, things like that. I know Lego Flash is probably going to dive into that one like crazy. Wave frame heavy grenade launchers. There's really only one that I think we have right now, so we probably will be getting more of those because they usually don't make a change quite that out of nowhere. The size and damage of the self AoE is reduced. Should make it much easier to fire close to your feet, which is good. Probably means we're going to be seeing a new Waveframe Heavy Grenade Launcher in Season 22. Just a hunch, but, you know, mark my words, we'll see that probably next season. Swords got a massive set of changes. So energy now recharges after a short delay when used, but recharges much faster. Full-powered heavy attacks can be used without max energy. Basically, you don't have to have full, any energy. You can use a full attack, so you'll be able to use those more frequently. They also increased sword guard damage resistance, giving it between 82.5% and 95% damage reduction. So if you're guarding with the sword, you can probably survive a lot of things. Now, it's still probably sketchy to take that thing into Grandmaster, but people have done some stuff with glaives I've seen before to save your butt. It's not a horrible idea. Swords no longer lose energy when taking damage. So if you are guarding, you won't lose energy and therefore kind of run out. Sword guard duration is now increased across every guard type, so it will be kind of separate. Sword guard talent nodes have had their stats squished down, combined with the above. So swords are definitely going to feel a little bit different. Sword movement speed while blocking, you're a little bit faster in your movement. Lament, not too much change there, but it will get the increased guard damage reduction and duration. So test out a sword, see how it feels. Guarding with a sword is not going to be completely useless now. And if you're a Titan with the Stronghold exotic, that might actually be a lot of fun. We'll see. Exotic weapons. I probably don't have the audio here, but you're going to have the ability to do get a new catalyst, and then you'll see he throws the melee, throws that, and then he activates the front of Monte Carlo. The bayonet. Actually activate the bayonet as a catalyst, so that's kind of a backup melee. We'll be curious to see how it does for damage, but an interesting one for sure there. Quicksilver Storm's animation was off. Dead Man's Tail had a weird stat. Two-Tailed Fox is now going to fire 3 rockets instead of a 2-shot burst. So I don't know if that's going to be better for DPS or worse for DPS, if it's just the same, but it just kind of functions as you hear all 3 rockets, like 1, 2, 3 now. Just honestly have to kind of check that one out. You almost need to remake the model of the rocket, though, with the catalyst, but it's fine. This one I'm actually kind of excited about. So Verglass Curve is a stasis bow. Kind of enjoyed it for the Lightfall campaign, first time I played through. But now Whisper of Fissures detonations now generate Hail Barrage stacks if the stasis crystal was created by this weapon. Shiver Quiver now activates when slowing enemies, and they increase the slow stacks from 40 to 60 when hitting players directly with the Hail Barrage. Just a fun weapon. Glad to see it get a couple tweaks. Layman Arc is kind of going to turn into a lightweight bow. Body shot damage will be down. Increased crit multiplier by a smidge. So crit damage goes from 150 to 136. And then also they changed the dot. It's going to be quicker, and it's going to have less ticks, but the poison deals the same to total players. But the poison damage will be quicker and also does increased PvE damage. So in essence, your dot is actually going to be faster DPS in PvE. So PvE, you'll be fine. PvP, you're just going to be out of the fight for a little less time. It's also lightweight. I have to see how that one plays out. Vex, they reduce the RPM, increase the damage against minors and majors by 25%. So have a little bit of fun there. Tommy's Matchbook. Scorch value was 14 plus 7 with the Ember equipped. Now it's 15 plus 5, so your base is a little higher. I don't really love that weapon. Now, Touch of Malice is interesting. Increase the final round damage in PvE by 20%. Decrease the self-damage from the final round from 10 to 7. Final round can no longer kill you. You'll be sitting there with just a little bit of health, but you technically won't die. Increase the health awarded by Touch of Mercy perk from 30 to 75. Set up Touch of Mercy to work like Unrelenting. Guardians and major combatants give more points towards activation. And Ball of Darkness now appropriately deals arc damage and will blind combatants and stun unstoppable champions. So Touch of Malice, still a little risky because it will do damage to you, but honestly, a little better, more usable. Malfeasance, an issue with Vorpal Catalyst wasn't displaying. Cloud Strike, reduce the lethal kill distance on the Lightning Strike. So you're gonna have to be a little more shoulder to shoulder to get those kills. Trying to think of Cool Guy. Sorry, that one may affect you. I know you love that weapon. Wicked Implement. We knew this thing felt weak, and honestly, I think everybody said it in the perks, or everybody said it in the comments when I made the video. Wicked Implement Catalyst now also includes Headstone, so you are going to want the Catalyst. The timing window for Creeping Attrition has been increased by a second, and you can now also activate Tithing Harvest by destroying Stasis Crystals. So if you really lean into a Stasis build, you can have a lot more fun with that weapon now. So that's drastically improved. Perks, bipod, damage reduction is 25% instead of 40. I think somebody on Twitter did the math that it's still not as good as some of the other perks you can still get. If you get to combine that with different perks, maybe it'd be fun, but we'll see. Envious Assassin is honestly just going to be easier to manage now. So if you like Envious Assassin, there's no longer a time limit after kills in which you must activate the perk. Basically, it's just going to be better. No problem there. Over Under now provides bonus body shot damage against players with Woven Mail. Increase the bonus damage against combatant shields, which I do kind of like. Deals significantly increased damage to enemies who are enhanced by Dark Cabal overshields, in addition to enemies shielded by Lucent mods. So interesting, very specific uses for like PvE, but I kind of like that they're giving it some other uses. Under Pressure. It's very, very strong on fusion rifles because you always have low ammo anyway. So it's just going to still have the same stability, less accuracy cone. Shoot to loot no longer triggers the reload when shooting a special brick. And then also the explosive damage now trigger interacts with orbs of power. So like kinetic tremors, if you would imagine, paired with shoot to loot was a fun thing. Now orbs of power are going to be picked up there as well. Valiant Charge perk now deactivates on the initial sword swing. Ambush no longer deactivates from healing, fall damage, or being shot by allies. Explosive Light fixed a bug where the enhanced version of the perk was giving two stacks on the first pickup. Probably was nice. Chill Clip got a little bit of a knock. Reduced the slow stacks from 60 to 40. So something like Riptide will take 3 shots now to freeze. 1 will still chill, which will still slow down an overload champion, but it will take 3 shots now to get that full chill, freeze, all that stuff. Wolfpack rounds no longer trigger this perk as well. So again, Wolfpack, Chill Clip, rocket launchers, like Bump in the Night, not quite as strong for sure after that nerf. Crafting changes. These are good. So they're like, while the Shirochi weapon level farming is not ideal, instead of nerfing that, thank you, by the way, if you want to do it, you can, but you now have other options. So especially PvP stuff. So activity completions and PvP kills. Since the opportunity to get kills in PvP is far lower than what's in PvE, they'll be increasing the amount of progression earned. Also, activity completions for Crucible, Trial, Dares, Wellspring, Gambit, and then platinum scores on those lost sectors will have a boosted activity completion. They're also adding the capability for progress that exceeds the current level to rollover. Basically, if you were at like 95 and say activity completion gave you 30%, it wouldn't just give you 5% and bump you to the new level. It'll give you the 5 and the 25 of the new level. Why it wasn't doing that? Probably a weird bug, but that is fixed. To round out the weapon progression changes, they're also adding the capability to directly increase a weapon's level through currency. This is actually a good thing. It sounds weird, but it's good. Crafted and enhanced weapons will both receive a new mod slot in their weapon details. You can spend Glimmer and Enhancement Cores to boost the level of the weapon. So you can literally just like craft a weapon and then boost it. This mod will increase the weapon's level directly, leaving your existing progress towards the next level untouched. While there's no cap to how far you can boost a weapon's level to, I wouldn't take it past like 16 or 18 or 20 or whatever it is. The cost of boosting this will increase relative to the level of the weapon. Weapon usage means it's meant to be the main path for increasing a weapon's level. However, with the restrictions of how many weapons you can level at a time and always increasing the expansion to the amount of weapons that you have to level, they wanted to provide you an alternative method of leveling that allows for both jump-starting the crafted progress and also the ability to level a larger amount of weapons stockpiled in your inventory. So if you have a lot of currency stocked up, you can just like level some weapons up without using them. If you get a brand new weapon, you can unlock at least probably the base level of the perks, use them for a while, level it up, and then you could naturally unlock the enhanced perks, which I kind of like. So it's a balance. Would be nice if, some of the more of the normal perks were unlocked at a base level so you could just like pick. But if you spend some basic stuff like cores, which I have too many of, but again, played way too many hours, so I know this doesn't help everyone. I'll be curious what the costs are at a higher level. But if you do craft a weapon, it's one that you really want to use, but you say maybe don't have time, or for whatever reason, to put all the time into leveling, then you can at least spend some currency, have the access to all the perks that you want, and then use that thing in the activities that you want to use. And then as it naturally gets leveled up, then you'll always be able to have that in there. Now, I don't know if you'll be able to pull the currency back out later or if it's ever refundable, but we'll just have to see. Either way, if you want to boost your weapon up with your currency, you can, which I'm kind of okay with because that's nice. Crafting economy, they're getting rid of resonant and harmonic alloys. Those are based on raid weapons. So if you're crafting raid weapons, those are going away, which is good. You'll be able to turn them in for Glimmer at the tower. Neomuna weapon pattern acquisition. I literally was saying recently, I'm like, I'm not going to use my deep sight harmonizers for my season pass on anything but these. They're going to make these better. I still probably will use them on one of these because I don't have anything else to use them on, because I'm at least farming stuff. But for now, this does seem more manageable. So the Neomuna weekly Pinnacle story mission score challenge will provide guaranteed Neomuna pattern progress the first time it is completed each week. Weapon pattern progress. Weird. That's written. The Neomuna vendor engram upgrade will increase the drop chance of deep sight Neomuna weapons. This is retroactive if you've already claimed the vendor upgrades. The Throne World vendor engram upgrade will also receive the same behavior for Throne World deep sight weapons. Season 22 will also fix a bug in the underlying deep sight drops that manifest from the major overhaul we did for Nightfall. This bug could decrease the deep sight drop rate as you neared the completion of a pattern set. That is a awful bug. Although this deep sight bug on its own would normally have a low impact on deep sight behavior, the problem was exacerbated when coupled with the lack of deterministic deep sight sources for Neomuna weapons. Yeah. Please fix this bug, because that is awful. I'm glad that will be fixed. If you feel like you've been struggling to get red borders, this actually probably feels like a very big reason as to why. So, cross our fingers, that actually makes a decent difference. And that's mostly it. So they believe crafting is more in line with our original version than with Witch Queen. We're still making the necessary changes to the system when we're in the middle of developing a large crafting-related feature targeted for the final shape year. Provide more details in the future. Yeah, so pretty solid changes in here. A lot of generally positive things, I think. Bringing a few outliers down, whether it's range, under pressure for fusion rifles. A lot of things are probably kind of getting shifted in a little different ways, but overall, I would say mostly positive from what I read. I don't think there's anything here. The weapon balancing team, as I said, they've been crushing it a lot. There may be little things, whether it's reticles or things not everybody pays attention to or cares about, but I would generally say the weapons team has been doing a great job, and this is again proof that they are trying to put in as much work as they can for each one of these big patches. So if you enjoyed this video, if you found any information helpful, share it with a friend, tell them about it, or just drop a like below, leave a comment, say hello. If you want to find me on Twitter or Twitch, it is Ebontis over there. If you're new to the channel and you want to support the channel, easiest thing, hit that subscribe button, hit the alert bell. If you want to go the next mile or farther, depending on up to you, you can join the channel as a member or find my Patreon at Ebontis and support me over there. Thank you guys all. Cannot wait for the showcase. Lots of stuff coming up. And stay tuned. I've got a lot of things cooking. I'll see you in the next one.